Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte, and we are taking a look today at the Boston Bruins as they have punched their ticket to the 2022 Stanley Cup playoffs. So we'll be looking at the Bruins season, what got them to this point, and what the potential future looks like going into the postseason. Who could be their first round matchup? Who's going to be their kryptonite potentially in the playoffs? We'll go over all of that today. So, the Boston Bruins, ever since 2000, you look at the past, really this millennium, how have the Bruins stacked up? And there's a reason that the Bruins, an original six franchise, they have a big fan base, hardcore fan base to begin with, but this is a national powerhouse. You look at their success, like I said, since the new millennium, in 22 seasons, they have made the playoffs 17 of those 22 seasons. You also have to remember, in one of those seasons, there was no playoffs due to a lockout. So, really, in that regard, 17 of 21 seasons where the Bruins could actually make the postseason, they did. That is what you're looking at for the Boston Bruins. That is an extremely, extremely successful run. And you look at teams, they would dream to have something like that over the past 22 years. This is their sixth straight season making the Stanley Cup playoffs. This is a very good Bruins team, as I think most people come to expect at this point. They've been very close in 2019. They came this close to beating the Blues in the Stanley Cup Finals. They've played, who did they play? Was it Chicago in 2015? They've come so close multiple times to winning Stanley Cups. This is just an organization that you can pretty much write. They do have a chance to get there. Now, nobody really talks about them, right? Because they're always sort of not the underdog, but they're always there, right? So they're the team that gets into the playoffs, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, Boston's going. Oh, here they go. Here they go. You know, kind of like that 2019 run. I mean, I think people expected them to do well, but I don't know if they would have seen them as a Stanley Cup final team, right? So, again, you look at recently, they have been very good. This is actually going to be their 75th playoff appearance as a franchise. So, again, talk about a storied, historic franchise. That's it right there to a T. You're looking at this team and their goal scoring. Where are they getting all their production from this season? Really, it's kind of the cast of everybody right now for the Boston Bruins. Everybody is bringing in some kind of production, and the Bruins are they're thriving right now, and especially in a tough Atlantic division. That is not easy to do, but you look at the top goal scorer, the top point producers, you got Brad Marchand, Pasta with 38 goals this season. Bergeron, Hall, McAvoy. I mean, you're talking about the suspects you would expect. You have guys like Howla and DeBrusk and Smith. They're all doing pretty well for this team as well. So you're just talking about a bunch of guys that have come in and made a difference for this team. At the trade deadline, they got even better. They brought in Hampus Lindholm from the Anaheim Ducks. That was a great addition to their lineup on their back end. They definitely needed that. And then you're looking at Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman, who has been their goalie tandem this season. They both have a plus 910 a 910 save percentage, which is very solid, and under a 2.60 goals against average between the two of them. That's some really good stats. And you look at their stats together, a 911 save percentage and a 2.53 goals against average. And the only reason that gets brought down a little bit is because of Tuukka Rask's stats. In the 4 games that he played for the Bruins. He only played 4 games for the team, and unfortunately did not do so well in that time. And again, I'm sure Bruins fans don't want to talk about that too much, but that's what you're looking at there. They do have a couple of injuries, though. Again, some of you guys will probably put it in the comments, a little bit of an update. Jesper Frodan, he is out for Tuesday's game, so again, possibly a day-to-day situation there. Same thing for Hampus Lindholm, a lower body injury. David Pastrnak, those are some big names. Linus Ullmark with an undisclosed injury. So you're just talking about a couple of guys that are out that you're like, rather not have those guys out of the lineup. So I could see this just being more of like a precautionary thing for a couple of those guys. But that's kind of where we're at with the Bruins. Now, here's another interesting thing. So, looking at their stats in terms of goals for and goals against. So, goals for this season, they're actually dead middle in the pack. They are 16th in the NHL for goals for this season. They have 236 goals on the year. 205 goals against. That is their bread and butter, and that's kind of been the case. That is the Bruins way, right? That is the identity of this team, a very defensive-minded team. 205 goals against. That's fourth best in the National Hockey League. So that's where the Bruins' bread and butter is, and they got better at the deadline, bringing in Hampus Lindholm. You look at right now, they're going to hit 100-plus points this season. Probably also going to get that 50-plus win season as well. The Bruins are good. The Bruins are a really good hockey team and definitely a threat come playoff time. Now, this is where things get interesting. Because of where they sit in the wild card picture, they're probably going to play a Metropolitan Division opponent. Again, unless they sneak into that spot where Tampa is in third in the division, which by the day seems more and more unlikely. Tampa's been really red hot. The Bruins have slipped up just a little bit as of recently, but they're still playing well. So if they do take that spot in third in the division, they will not have home ice advantage against that team. Yeah, the team in blue and white up in Toronto, north of you. The Toronto Maple Leafs could potentially be a first-round matchup. I think that is the matchup that everybody wants. I mean, come on. Another year potential. I mean, Islander fan here, a little bit of bias. I love the idea of seeing the Bruins just put the Leafs out in 7 games once again. That's something that never gets old for me, that kind of Leafs misery, and I know the Bruins fans love to lick the tears off Leaf fans' face as well, so I'd love to see that matchup. And you know what, even if Toronto does win that series, I mean, how crazy would that be, right? Just like slaying the dragon, like, that would be insane. You also have the potential matchup, which at the moment seems more likely. It is one of those top teams in the Metro, and that is the Carolina Hurricanes or the Rangers. And this could actually be a benefit for the Bruins, because in this sort of scenario, both the Rangers and Hurricanes, they're both kind of like, no, you could take first. 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 Because they don't want to play Washington or Boston in the first round of the playoffs. So they're like, if we win the division, great. But now we have to play Boston or Washington in the first round. And I'm sure one of them would rather play Pittsburgh, who right now is slotted as third in the Metropolitan Division. So you're kind of looking at a spot where that could actually be a benefit for the Bruins, because those teams they seem to be playing, not that they're playing lackluster hockey. I mean, Shesterkin's put up a week straight of shutouts. He's been incredible. You definitely don't want to play them, but I don't know. It's that mentality that we're kind of just going through the motions. If we win the division, if not, whatever. The Bruins could come in and stomp them in the first round as an upset. So that's kind of what could be an advantage if the Bruins do get that wild card spot and not that third seed in the Atlantic, because you know that the Leafs are going to be, they're going to be drooling over the possibility of that round. Most fans would probably not be, because they're like, oh shit, here we go. We know it's going to happen. It's happened too many times. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But overall, I think the Bruins, again, I kind of see them as the St. Louis Blues right now in the Western Conference. They're the kind of team that might surprise people and go further than they expect. Now, I don't know if they're going to go to the Stanley Cup final necessarily. I think it's just the East is so difficult. Whoever comes out of the East, it's like, okay, you come out of the Eastern Conference as the Eastern Conference champ, but whoever you play in the Stanley Cup final, I mean, there's a chance they're going to be more well-rested than you. And if it's Colorado, they could be feasting on that team from the East. They're going to be dragging with one limb in hand into that Stanley Cup final, because it is just such a bloodbath right now. And, like I said, the Bruins could be a team that upsets in the first 2 rounds and maybe gets themselves to the conference finals. I think that is definitely possible for the Bruins this year. So that is it for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you think could hold the Bruins back from a potential Stanley Cup championship here in 2022? And what do you think of their first round matchup? Who would you like to see the Bruins play in the first round? Let me know. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and let's go Bruins.